These are some Dinar Guru updates, starting off with Pimpy. Yes, I hear there's still more chitter chatter about the exchange rate, and yes, there's a lot of misinformation going on out there about the Iraqi Dinar. The full exchange rate being reinstated, that's not the case. The talk is about them going back to the old rate of $11.99 per dollar. The hydrocarbon law has not been signed. It was agreed upon in 2007, but the Iraqi Supreme Court struck it down. They've been renegotiating. The statement that the whole world is forcing Iraq to change their exchange rate is inaccurate. Countries don't usually get involved with people's exchange rate unless you're trying to manipulate them, and that's not the case with Iraq. Mark Z via PDK, if our rate is already established through the terms of the treaty, why are we concerned about the float? We won't know until Iraq goes international and are officially on the float and officially on an internationally traded currency. If they go to a float, all your banks will suddenly start taking it. I still hope it comes out fixed and not afloat. Paulette article quote, the finance expects the Iraqi government's vote on the budget. Parliament's approval of it will take about 2 months. This is the perfect scenario. This is what I posted about and is perfectly congruent with what we should all be hopeful for. Frank 26, the Iraqi, will reinstitute their currency and then they will reinstate it. Pretty cool. They are doing this for the world market consumers. The World Bank and the IMF has made sure they have done this. To reinstate the currency is what you're seeing, but then it's going to float. The float increases the value of the dinar. That's an RV. Alright, Claire article quote, the central bank receives the remaining amount from Kuwait compensation fund. Quote, Iraq revealed in 2021 that it had terminated all necessary banking arrangements with the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank to stop the automatic deduction of Kuwait's compensation from Iraqi crude oil about export revenues after paying the full remaining amount of compensation. Right, Pimpy article quote, the central bank receives the remaining amount from Kuwait compensation fund. This right here is big news, and I mean big news. We know Iraq was released from United Nations Security Council's chapter, but they had to finish compensation to Kuwait. Looks like the last payment is finally here. That has been satisfied. This is great news and a major step forward for Iraq in order to be recognized on the international scene and to help remove restrictions off their currency. Pimpy says this is awesome and so big. Paulette says, as long as the restructure happens and CBI stands by what they have said in the past, and as recently as a few weeks ago, that no denomination will be withdrawn and that the 3 zeros will coexist for at least 2 years and upwards of 10 years, we will be very happy when this occurs. Mark Z via PDK Central Bank, the cash reserve has reached its highest level in the history of the state. We are talking even higher than with Saddam Hussein in its heyday. Right now, they are sitting on more cash reserves than at any other time in this country's history. They have exceeded $90 billion in U.S. value, and it's just sitting there unused, ready to roll. This is one of the few countries in the world whose economies are not in the hole, so to speak. The author Al-Yasari is one of those with Sudani that specifically mentions that the change in exchange value is the best way to help the poor and underperforming classes. Walking Stick via Frank 26, the budget is voted into law in Parliament. Then it is sent to the President of the Republic for his John Hancock. Then it's official. But if it's not sent to the President, then what happens? It becomes law automatically without the signature of the President of the Republic within 15 days of the receipt. Militiaman article quote, Blue to debut a fintech super app for Iraq and the Middle East. This news out is massive. Iraq is going international before our very eyes. They tell us they will be able to top up accounts in the BluePay app on mobile phones, trade USA listed stocks, and all approved by the Central Bank of Iraq. They can do that with both USD and IQD and then exchange their balances with 10 other countries. Militiaman says, wow, multi-currency capabilities with the USD, yen, Iraqi dinar, etc., soon to be Saudi Arabia too. For those that have been on the fence about Iraq ever going international, you can rest assured we now have been spot on. Sandy Ingram, breaking news out of Iraq. This is what we've been waiting on. Insight into Iraq's plans. The article quote says, First Iraqi bank announces Iraq's fully digital bank gears for cashless economy in the country. Unquote. Sandy says each customer will be assigned an IBAN, International Bank Account Number, to allow cross-border transactions. The article did not mention an RV. The key question is, will you need to be an Iraqi citizen or have an Iraqi identification to open up a bank account? I don't know yet. Frank 26 article quote, the application of international trade exchange for the Middle East transforms Iraq into a quote-unquote electronic financial exchange center. Float, here we come. How many times have I told you Iraq will become a financial hub? Frank says, another quote, the pioneering services will provide new horizons for the Iraqi market in 10 foreign currencies, including the US dollar and the Iraqi dinar. I am extremely happy. Pimpy says, there's something I'm noticing that's making me very suspicious about this whole Iraqi dinar exchange rate fiasco that's going on. He says, it seems to me that people are purposely out there starting rumors to cause devaluation of the Iraqi dinar, so these corrupt people could purchase more of them, so when a times come and a real rates change taken place, they could benefit from it. Mark Z via PDK says, I was told if they come out at a float, the banks will be offering us multi-currency accounts for us to deposit it when we exchange. Then we wait and watch and decide when it's high enough or pull out what we need. I am not in the least bit worried about it. And lastly, Claire article quote, the application of international trade exchange for the Middle East transforms Iraq into an electronic financial exchange center. Quote, the pioneering services will provide new horizons for Iraqi market in 10 foreign currencies, including the US dollar and the Iraqi dinar, unquote.